The attempted assassination of Donald Trump over the weekend at a rally in Pennsylvania, which was obviously terrifying and disorienting. And I think I learned that in an emergency, when hits the fan in this country, the internet is a great source of information. For instance, within minutes, I found out that this is staged. And then I found out that it was actually an inside job. And then I found out that it was Joe Biden who ordered it. And then I found out that this guy is the shooter. Great job, internet, you did it. Except it turns out that that guy is an Italian football commentator named Marco Violi. Who does, to be fair, look a little shootery. But I can only assume was in Italy sipping Aperol spritzes on the piazza when he got a panicked call from his nonna. Marco! Marco! Why, Marco? Then it was time for Donald Trump's big entrance. The great Lee Greenwood did the honors with a rousing rendition of God Bless the USA.
Is there any doubt who's going to be the next president of the United States? Prayer works. This nation based on faith. Prayer works. Because he was sure, as Donald Trump turned his head just slightly, that the bullet missed him just enough.
You know what? I'm sorry, Lee. We're going to have to skip ahead just a little bit. None of the side patter, if you could. The great Lee Greenwood. Introducing Donald Trump. Here we go.
We have believed for so long that God will make some changes in this country. And he's about to make a change in the current administration and send them home. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Just get to it. The man is wearing a time-release ear salve, for God's sakes.
Help for our veterans, and God bless our military wherever they are in this United States and abroad. There will be no wars.
Ladies and gentlemen,
President Trump
please welcome the next president of the United States.
They cut him off. Is it possible to bring out another band to play a band off?
Now, the main theme of night 2 was making America safe again, which got off to a bad start when Rudy Giuliani did an impression. When he did an impression of his net worth and plummeted to the ground. Don't worry, everyone, he's fine, okay? Fortunately, the only thing that can hurt Rudy is garlic and holy water. But the theme was meant to highlight crime and drug use in America. And some speakers came out to talk about how much real tragedy they've suffered these last few years.
My son murdered with a knife on the streets of New York City.
My beloved sister Rachel murdered by a suspected illegal immigrant.
I was insulted as a guest at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Okay, one of these stories wasn't quite as tragic as the other ones. And hey, I'm not saying it wasn't painful that someone made fun of you while you had a free dinner, but maybe next time just go before the widows and the orphans so there's like an escalation of tragedy. But you know what? Sarah Huckabee Sanders was probably just ramping up. I'm sure she suffered a much worse tragedy.
My family was denied service and kicked out of a restaurant.
Okay, lady, you heard the speeches before you, right? There are people who are like, my whole family's addicted to fentanyl, and you're like, I know, right? And Chipotle totally skimped on my guac. Come on, you gotta give me something tragic. Make me tear up.
And a parent at my 3-year-old son's preschool spit on my car.
Okay. Sarah is like, what is happening to America? When someone can just walk up to my car and spit on that thing. As an Asian, I just want to make it clear that Vivek Ramaswamy does not represent me, okay? Because Indians are not Asians. But if Vivek didn't convince young people that it's cool to be Republican, hey, check out this sick beat.
It's the mayor of Magaville, baby. Hey, you know who we voting for? We voting Donald Trump, baby. Donald Trump, baby. America needs saving. America needs saving.
I didn't think it was possible to dishonor Vanilla Ice, but they did it. In fact, I wish I got shot in the ear so I'd have to listen to that shit. But
And if that wasn't enough news to cover in a day, there's another gigantic story brewing. Keep your news alerts on because the Democrats might be recasting a very big role.
Breaking news about President Biden's candidacy.
The New York Times sources close to President Biden say he's beginning to accept he might have to leave the race.
Axios says he could drop out as soon as this weekend.
It's reached almost a fever pitch. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi have all had very direct conversations with President Biden.
His political fate more precarious than ever.
An increasingly dire moment.
His fate now hanging in the balance, nearing the point of no return.
We are close to the end
of his candidacy. To be clear, when you're talking about an 81-year-old, you gotta be clear about that. Think about how strange this moment is. In the span of 1 week, one candidate got shot, and the other guy might drop out. I mean, years from now, children will be reading about this in history books. I mean, not in Florida. Finally, it was time for Donald Trump to come out. And in case you weren't sure who he was, they put his name in big, bright lights like he was the world's most famous circuit elephant. That's right. Trump's gonna be president of Broadway! And once the cheers died down and the speaking began, Trump made some big promises.
4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
Oh, I don't know. Best 4 years? What about 91 to 95? Wu-Tang, Nirvana, unironic fanny packs. Michael Jackson before it got too weird, you know?